What's up, YouTube? We got the new mix of Matchbox right in front of us. I got lucky. I saw the shipper out before they pegged it, and I got the newest mix of Matchbox. Very excited. I was waiting for the Mercedes Wagon to come out, and very excited to share it with everybody. I've been looking at it past couple of days, kind of inspecting it and seeing what possibilities might lie for this car. It is a brand new car. I like it enough probably to collect it, and it's very Matchbox-esque, as I'd say, because they took a little liberty with this car in terms of its exact detailing. But it's still a cool model. Great debut color. Very unusual in the green. So we're going to look at that. And then, of course, we got some repeat castings in addition to the new 1975 Caprice that was out last mix. But I finally was able to get a bunch of them. Usually it's a car that's gotten the most out of that mix that it came out in. And it was, only a single. I'd only see them hanging around by themselves, not in multiple. So I finally got some more. And I opened up one of them that had the roughest card. And just a great looking car. Again, Matchbox scaling. So it's a little undersized. And, it's got the narrow track base, which is fine. You can put a lot of different wheels in there. It's got a huge wheel well. So all sorts of big rims would fit in there. And good old Caprice. I think this body is like 73 to 76. Because in 77 went to the box style, downsized. That Chevy did, but pretty good body proportions. This is a hard top completely. No vinyl treatment. Not too many were the all steel roof cars. Most of them had the vinyl. And it's funny, I have a bigger version of that car. This is AMT's kit I did a while ago. So you could see the difference in the two. Only a year apart, meaning that the 75 just has round headlights and the 76 has square. But you can see, even though the scale is probably a little bit smaller than 1/64th, they got the body done pretty good. That MPC AMT kit's pretty accurate the way it does. And I'd say they did both of them pretty good. Of course, skills have improved just a little bit better since the years have passed, but not that much better. But I actually painted that car a couple of times, different colors. Anyway, so there's the Matchbox. It is nice. I usually, when I get the Matchbox that matches some of my larger cars in my collection, whether it be a model kit or a diecast, I'll put them next to them. I like seeing the different sizes. So there's a Caprice, good looking car. So yeah, pretty much new for the year. We'll see how that car develops over its lifespan with Matchbox, see what they do with it. That'll be interesting. Another car that's been on my radar for a while finally is out in retail. I was able to find this car. Like I said, I saw a fresh shipper out there waiting to get pegged, so I opened it up, but lo and behold, this bad boy is in there. So that was kind of fun. Sunroof on this car. They show this though, which is interesting. So on these earlier Mercedes cars, this usually was a sunroof. Basically, it was a solid panel that would open and close, and it wouldn't have a glass portion. So it's interesting. They showed the relief for it, because what happens on these sunroofs on these Mercedes, they go into the headliner instead of above the roof line. So interesting. The body is a little developed for Matchbox, I'd say, just because the proportions are okay. This car is close to 1/64th, I'd say. But some of the detail, like the grille, is a little bit, it's close to what it's supposed to be, but not exactly. Headlights, I think they seem small in person, but that's alright. It's got a cream colored base. It's got a tan interior, so the interior is separate from the grille and everything. A little bit more of a standard wheelbase or track on the axle, so a little bit more possibilities for different wheels and tires on this. This would definitely be cool to lower or paint. Definitely I'll detail this one. I'm sure I'll see these again eventually. And it does have the disc wheel, so I like that. But yeah, I mean, I love station wagons anyway, so we see something that looks appears stock like this Matchbox does, I'm all in. It's definitely got that green color. Pretty interesting. They tampo the front and back. Get a little bit closer look, and they're designating this one 300 turbo, so it's got that turbo diesel motor. And it's got American registration, it looks like. So unfortunately they're starting to put the post through the back. It does have detail there. It's got some items in the back. Looks like a helmet and some food. That's kind of cool. Solid windows except for the doors, front doors. Mercedes 300 TD. I think they're calling this a, well, it's the 123 wagon, so they don't really give it a year. But they came, I think it was basically late 70s to 80s. So good looking car, very famous. By the way, before we get a little bit further, card art's really cool. So I've been trying to keep the cards going. So here's the Caprice. I think it was, like I said, last mix, and 6 of 100. So pretty cool. And then the Mercedes, it's got a little bit more accurate detailing, the way the headlights are done, but the grille, they kept it the same shape, so it's really not exactly the way the Mercedes grille looks, but give them a pass. So cool looking car, very cool artwork, and this was an early 3 out of 100 slot for this year. So interesting. Alright, next car, real fun. This is the Vista Cruiser, as people are familiar with. Older casting, but very well developed casting from Matchbox. I mean, obviously the size is small, but all the details there on this car. So it's a fun one to collect. I have a few of them. I don't have all the variants. I think I have a really early one, that when they first came out, and then I had a couple in between when they were like solid colors, and then I got another one that's that kind of lime green. So this is back to a more stock color. I think it is like a color scheme that it debuted in, so that's cool to see again. I do like this gold bronze poly that it's on there. Vista top for the Oldsmobile, but you know, ditch moldings there, roof rack, where the door gets kicked up, tail lights, everything's there. And then for the lock mechanism, it's all there on this car. The dogs, of course. And they got tri-spoke wheels, good looking. You know, disc wheel will look good on this car too, and I think this car did have a disc wheel at one of the releases, so that's kind of neat. And it's got that Cutlass front end done very well. So again, this car would be really good to detail. You can see the relief around the headlights and the grille. They all can be painted, and this car would turn out very nicely. Probably do a wheel swap, more accurate wheel, and this would look pretty good. It just wouldn't be a 1/64th vehicle. But we all know Vista Cruiser, perennial favorite, been out for a while. Another car that's been out for a little bit. Awesome livery. This is the Lotus Europa, and they're calling this a 72. And by the way, here's the card art for the Olds. Kind of do these 2x2, I guess. Olds artwork, I got that color. It's a little bit more yellowish, and then this one is 13 out of 100. So cool, very cool looking. And then before we get started on the Lotus, which I think is a dynamite casting, it's got the special paint. So it's like a metallic, like black, gray over the gold striping. So a really good looking car. They deleted the tri-spoke chrome. They just had the chrome lip on the wheel. And we'll look at that. 15 out of 100. I love this car. They use the interior as trim, which is a very common way to bring more detail to a vehicle when you have only a certain amount of parts you can use. And this one really executed that strategy very well. The bumpers are very delicate, but they're the right size. They have the right shape. Plus it has the chrome beltline trim right there by the rocker panel. And then this casting goes back a ways, but they were just really smart with what they had to use. And so the car's proportions are very good. They spent time doing the casting correctly. But the chrome is able to show up in so many places on this car that it was just such a smart move. And really, if you want a super detail, this car would be quite simple. Very good looking car. Lotus Europa is an awesome vehicle. Very small in real life. This car is probably a little oversized in terms of 1/64 scale. But you can see how good they did the tampo. So this is an all over tampo almost. They were able to get the front pretty much, even though it's really the roof, and both sides in gold trim. So this is just spectacular for Matchbox mainline. I think that tampo there even has some detail as well. It's hard to get, but you can see the car's done good. You see how they delete that chrome on the wheel, which makes it look a little bit more accurate. And then another good details, the bonnet deck lid here, where you can see the chrome is used for the filler caps. So that's really great as well. And even in, they were able to get the window. A lot of times they'll just have that as metal with an outline of a window. So this is a cool car. I didn't really have a Europa. I missed it, I guess, the last time it was out, because a lot of times these cars will get snatched up, and if you don't know what's in the case, you can't, know what you're missing or what you should be looking for. So it is good that there is case reports and everything, because it makes collecting a lot easier and sometimes more difficult when you can't find the car and it's there, but you keep missing it. That's a kind of a frustration that you got to live with. I got in early on this one. I'm sure this will be a perennial favorite with everybody. It'll be out in multiples very soon. I think I just stumbled across a very recent case. So Lotus Europa, I love this car. Really cool looking. I think they said it's a 72. Yeah, so cool car. Okay, these are just recolors, but they're awesome. I think this car looks great. I only have the white version of this. Didn't really get the other versions. Again, car kind of wasn't on my radar for a while, but I do like it. The 5 spokes look a lot better than the wire type 10 spoke, I guess, that Mattel does. So, and the tampo work on this blue car is really done very nicely. The white cars, they always kind of were smudged or kind of off to the side. So, very happily surprised when I took this out, because I did find some multiples, so I had one to take out. So the wheels fit this body perfect, and the tampoing on the rear is done excellent as well. It's got the RS6 on there, and the Audi rings are done perfectly. So just another fan. Everybody knows what this car is. I just like the blue, of course. I like blue, green, blue, purple, like all that stuff. Black, whatever. And then I didn't get the red one of this last year, but the green, now I can deal with that. Probably do a wheel swap. I think this early Jag, and this is supposed to be a 56, and we'll show the card art in a second. Yeah, 56 Jag XK 140. So a little bit larger engine displacement on that Jag from the first cars, and a little bit more refined. 9 out of 100. Just a classic casting for Matchbox. And here's the A6 car. Again, I think this is the incorrect 02 Audi RS6. I think it's supposed to be a later model car, so I think that's the same as the one that was released in white. I can't remember why they do that or whatever. 16 out of 100. It's just my take on these castings. I know a lot of people do the Matchbox, but these are the ones I like to pick up if I see these, so. This one looked really good. They had the front and rear tampoing. 10 spokes are not really my thing, so I'm going to probably change it to discs. A little bit oversized for 1/64 scale. Chrome base, and has a really great seat detail. You just got to redo the steering wheel, and this thing would detail up very nicely. So it's a great casting to have around anyway. So yeah, Matchbox. We got some, got it all over the world. We got Chevy. We got Mercedes, we got Olds, we got Great Britain with Lotus and Jag, and then we got more Germans back there with the Audi. So a little bit of Matchbox corner coming up. Green light. Till next time.